How long would it take for Nvidia's stock to reach $800? That is the current question. Find out by watching the entire video. Since earnings season is almost over, let's simply talk about technology in general. Although there are many corporate software companies and cybersecurity firms, it seems like we're in a bit of a lull while we wait for NVDA next week. Based on what we've observed, have anybody changed their Nvidia numbers? As you can see, Microsoft also provided solid guidance for Azure's growth in the second half. Although NVIDIA's metrics have been increasing, it all boils down to listening to Jensen, the godfather of AI at Nvidia. It's going to be an unforgettable occasion in my opinion. Despite being referred to as a value trap, it just illustrates have and have not, which is why I believe it's another kind of confirmation for where we see AI spending. Jensen, the godfather, is wearing a black leather jacket, and Intel is merely snooping about on the assignment. Indeed, they are currently having difficulty navigating. To say that they are suffering would be an understatement. While there are other software brands that will be the future generation, huge tech companies like Nvidia and Microsoft are becoming more powerful in the AI revolution. The key query at this point is when Nvidia will reach $800. It's an ambitious goal, but it's not completely impossible given their present velocity and supremacy in AI. I'm optimistic about their future, but we'll have to wait and see. Any significant advancements in AI could occur sooner than we anticipate, but the maximum is 2028. Let's keep a watch on their earnings reports. Naturally, both Nvidia and AMD are sort of following the same pattern of releasing their newest accelerators every year. However, I believe AMD also has a potential at this time. Given some of these Nvidia problems, we're hearing that they might capture anywhere between 10 and 15% at the top end of the data center GPU market by the end of this year and next year, possibly falling into the low 20% area. Those, in my opinion, are two important variables to monitor. Perhaps mid-2025 is a reasonable estimate for when we could begin to anticipate some sort of volume usage or deployments within the data centers, since we're seeing delays ranging from 4 to 6 months due to some of the packaging challenges we're seeing with QZL and B200. Are investors growing increasingly apprehensive about a potential Nvidia step back? Profits from technology are declining. As far as the market is concerned, the devil is in the data now, and I find that to be refreshing. For the most part this year, the market has been fairly complacent. Naturally, we've seen the collapse here 2.5 to 3 weeks ago, with the yen carry trade making everything worse. We also saw lower tech guidance and a very poor jobs report, which continued into Monday. There was a tantrum in the market. Here, the D has somewhat improved. Over the last few weeks, we've actually seen some very solid data, and the market has obviously responded favorably to that. As you previously stated, Jackson Hole will be the focus of everyone's attention coming ahead. Our focus will be on the remaining tech profits in this case. Furthermore, you shouldn't stop doing it just because you've received praise for it in the past year or two. I would therefore advise investors to take a close look at what is driving this stock when you look at that kind of thing, not just the amazing bull market that Nvidia has been in, but also the decline and this quick reversal. Yes, I believe that the fact that so much money is still being spent on Nvidia's AI chips is what's driving it. So I believe that worries that spending would slow down were the reason for the decline. Additionally, they may see some problems with their upcoming chips. And I believe the recovery is related to numerous recent data pieces that indicate spending on AI isn't slowing down. Could you name a specific catalyst? Indeed, Foxconn announced last week that all is okay and that the remainder of their year appears to be bright, with AI servers playing a major role in that. They are the biggest collaborator on NVIDIA's latest Blackwell chips. But after that, well, you kind of go back. Another significant NVIDIA customer, Supermicro, had a difficult quarter due to gross margins, but their sales and guidance were excellent. The Blackwell chip came up. There have been some worries about the delay. Does it have an impact on NVIDIA's overall growth story? It definitely doesn't in the short term, in my opinion. In light of the previous quarter and the one that is approaching, I don't believe that Blackwell will ever account for a sizable amount of future income. They must, of course, execute and ensure that any delays are minimal rather than large, and you definitely don't want to see it becoming a recurring issue. However, they did a fantastic job. I just happen to have been covering the 13FS, but if they're on pace from here, I don't think it matters when you're looking at the chip's larger landscape. In addition to Nvidia, I noticed a lot of movement with other chip manufacturers. It appears that you have additional, what you refer to as, green flags with some of the other businesses in the industry. Could you discuss the industry's future prospects and the specific businesses you find appealing? Indeed, I believe that everyone is dedicated to investing in AI through the Blackwell launch. I believe that you will continue to invest more on AI for another year or more. It's not only Nvidia, I believe, since it brings a lot other businesses along with it. The memory makers are TSM on the fabrication side. High bandwidth memory, or HBM, is required to support these new devices. Well, Micron benefits from it. You need more storage, I guess. AI generates data, huh? Well, that benefits businesses like Seagate and Western Digital, so a lot of the current bump is in the AI complex. And if AI does become more prevalent in edge devices, I believe you would see another uptick in the market next year. More content is needed for that, which is advantageous to the semiconductor industry as a whole. Are you anticipating a significant rotation, or do you think their movements will be as dramatic? Well, John, this has already occurred in big caps. When someone suggests that the Russell 2000, which is composed of even cheaper companies, cannot grow 40% in the next 5 months, they are ignoring that we have already witnessed significant movements in the mega caps. For example, Nvidia has risen 40% in just 8 trading days. The mega caps don't need to go down, in my opinion. I'm getting little caps. So do you think it will happen all at once? I'm aware that Nvidia has done that and that some other stocks have done the same. But what do all the other, small cap firms do when an index is rising that much? A 40% move in small caps, in my opinion, does not always indicate that the market as a whole will decline. Simply put, I believe it will emphasize that the market is expanding, which is something we can all anticipate. However, it is also essentially performing a risk-reward analysis, meaning that if you can get 18% earnings growth and pay 10 times earnings, then maybe that is a good risk-reward. However, if the Fed starts cutting, they will look for places where there is good risk-reward, and I believe that small caps are that. I believe that money that is on the sidelines or people who have been thinking that bonds are going to be in cash is a place you want to stick for the next 5 years. Does the development of the thesis need severe cuts? Do you notice any more problems that could jeopardize your thesis? A recession would be bad, The Fed doesn't need to make significant cutbacks, in my opinion. The idea that real interest rates are currently too restrictive is, in my opinion, the market story that would work best for small caps. 5.5% against inflation that is moving in the direction of 2 and bringing rates back down to a neutral level of 3%, The market doesn't need the cutbacks to be front-end loaded. If it thinks that we're heading back towards neutrality, that would, in my opinion, be a major motivator for small caps. All right, let me ask you a few more questions regarding mega caps and consumers. How significant will Nvidia's earnings be next week, not just for small caps, but for the entire market narrative? Nvidia is significant because it is a key component of the U.S. economy's driving force, which is a strong push for productivity through the use of automation and digital tools. Naturally, all of the major U.S. corporations are based in the U.S., and that is a very significant deflationary trend. It's a worldwide phenomena that helps American businesses. Therefore, it is quite crucial in my opinion. It's not like I would advise selling Nvidia in order to purchase tiny caps either, because the company's stock isn't that demanding at 26 times forward earnings. Nvidia is still a long-term investment in my opinion.